Okay, everybody, welcome back from the short break. So, we're going to move outwards into Europe, and Europe has a huge ambition to become the world's first climate-neutral continent by 2050. To get there, the Commission launched the Green Deal last December, and with that a number of strategies, action plans and roadmaps follow for all sectors and at all levels to become sustainable. That includes, of course, the process industry too, as large emitters have naturally a large potential to reduce their footprint. So how do we map the way forward for an industry moving from a linear to a circular value chain? That is a question that Angels Orduña is very well placed to answer. She is the Executive Director of SPIRE, a private-public partnership aiming at making the European process industry sustainable through resource and energy efficiency. She's joining us from Brussels and is ready to draw the roadmap for us. And if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask them through Slido, and the code is still PROSIN, slido.com. So please, Angels, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see my screen in a minute. Can you see it already? Okay. Cannot see the screen now. Yeah. Okay, great. So thank you very much for inviting me. It would have been lovely for me to be in Norway today. Unfortunately, the COVID limitations prevented it, so I had to stay here in Brussels. So as Ruth has said, I represent the SPIRE, the association SPIRE, which is the private partner of the current public-private partnership SPIRE, which in future will be called Processes for Planet, as you see in the screen. We represented, up to now, we have always represented 8 sectors, which were the founding sectors of SPIRE, and now you see 2 more on the screen, refining and pulp and paper, which have just joined this year. So we have these 10 sectors. We are in more than 20 European countries, and we team up more than 160 members, including industry, including research and innovation centers, including universities, SMEs, and including NGOs and other representatives like innovation agencies at regional level, for example. So, and with Processes for Planet, we have developed a roadmap which very clear process industries ambitions. We are the only partnership in Brussels, in Europe, that represents the process industries. And our ambitions are first to develop and deploy climate neutral solutions, reaching the target of net zero CO2 emissions, closing the energy and feedstock loops so that we achieve the near zero landfilling and near zero water discharge, and then competitiveness. So there's no circular economy, there's no climate neutral economy if the companies are not competitive. So we need to achieve this global leadership of the EU process industry, and we need to accelerate the innovation and unlock the public-private investments. So that is very important. Our partners to date is the DG R&I, but in future it's also DG GROW from the European Commission. Though, of course, we are collaborating with other areas of the Commission like DG Climate, DG Environment, or DG Ener. So in our roadmap, I'm not sure, I assume you are saying that the next slide, we need to, we have a long way. So the process industry have 2 rounds of investments ahead, and our roadmap defines all the technologies needed or identified till date as needed, including industrial symbiosis, including different aspects of process innovation as electrification, energy mix, CCU, and the resources, efficiency, and flexibility. But also digitalization is very important, and the non-technological aspects are very important. So in our roadmap, we have defined 14 innovation areas and 36 innovation programs to achieve those 3 ambitions that I have depicted before. You see here that there is a progress up to 2050. Some of them need to be ready already by 2024. And when we mean ready, we mean ready by TRL 9. And many of them need to be ready by 2030. But our roadmap is flexible. So every X number of years, we will do a review to see what is working, what is not working, and what we need to change. So that is a very important point that we made these times, because things and innovations change so quickly that very often we need to change it. So what do we want to achieve? So this is, we see ourselves with 2 main roles. First, we see ourselves with a capacity to provide solutions to reduce CO2 emissions. And then not only for the process industry, but every CO2 emission reduction that is achieved within the process industries will have an immediate effect in the rest of the value chain. So I must say that I'm fully aligned with many of the things that have been said this morning, because we really go for this process. So we really need to reduce the process emissions, but also other types of emissions. And certainly the process emissions are the most difficult to overcome. So, and then another point, the next point is on energy. Yeah, so, sorry, am I changing the slides? Yeah, the next slide, sorry, is on the resources. So we really consider the process industries have this capacity to reintroduce in the system bulk amounts of resources and upcycle them. And this is what can help us reuse all the secondary resources that currently go to landfill and reintroduce them in the industrial system again. That is what we consider it's very important, and where we have a way to go, and we have a very important role. But of course, this needs to be connected also with the eco-design of materials. For the sake of time, I'm not going to dedicate much more time on competitiveness, but it's important to understand that competitiveness needs to lead to jobs, to a market of the climate neutral and circular products. And for that, we need the support of the Commission. And we have 2 initiatives for that. One is the first-of-a-kind plans that we need to develop. So Horizon Europe will support us to develop the innovations up to TRL 7. But the innovations will not generate an impact in society and in the planet until they get to TRL 9, and then they are deployed. So for that, we need extra support, and we are now discussing with the Commission to have this extra support from other programs. So we want to also communicate to the Commission what do we need from the rest of the programs, InvestEU, the regions, et al. And then another, let me go to the next one. Another important initiative is the hubs for circularity. And we see a lot of potential here also in Norway for the hubs for circularity. This is a systemic approach in a specific site, in a specific region that you can develop. And it's the way to, we need the whole community to see what is needed in our region, whether it's Greenland, whether it's iCluster, or whether it's another of the regions or initiatives in Norway. But we need you to collaborate and see what do we all have together and what are the solutions that we can put. And so part of these solutions may come from the process industry, and that's what we will be able to support from SPIRE, and part of the solutions will come from other industries, from other sectors, and that is fantastic because we really need everybody to participate and collaborate. So how can you participate in all these initiatives? In these initiatives, you can participate by through our working groups. So in our working groups, you see in the screen, we have 7 working groups right now: energy mix, hydrogen, electrification, CCU, resource and process efficiency, industrial and urban symbiosis and digital, and then a transversal task force that deals with all social and non-technological innovations. So anybody who is a member of our association, by participating in these working groups, has participated and helped us to develop our roadmap. And now we are collaborating with the European Commission to write the first topics of processes for planet for Horizon Europe, which should be published at the beginning of next year. So anybody who joins immediately can access and be part of this and work with us on this. So what are the benefits of being part of this association and this partnership? So first, when I arrived here, all our sectors coincided in one thing. The continuous dialogue that they are having since the SPIRE was created is really giving them a chance to go to a next level of innovation and to learn mutually from each other. And now we are enlarging our association with 2 more new sectors, and any other sectors could still join. And that will give us a wider spectrum for the whole industry of Europe. But it's also a channel to raise your voice on research and innovation for Horizon Europe and for other programs. We are going to create, we have the proposal to the European Commission to create an impact panel so that from our association we have a direct dialogue with the investors and with the funders, whether it's InvestEU, the European, the European, the EIB, European Bank, whether it's the Innovation Fund from DG Climate or other opportunities, but also member states and also regions. So we see there a huge potential for us all to collaborate. Very important, and with that I will finish, the effect that we are having on SMEs. Because when we started, we were considered more the association for the large industries. However, we are having a great impact in SMEs. Our SMEs, since the moment they join us, they are growing with us. Our SMEs are the providers of technologies and innovations for the large industries. So they are finding that they can have access directly to their customers and develop the solutions with their customers. Not so easy to have this access for SMEs. And then, of course, very important, the collaboration with the RTOs and the NGOs that gives us this direct access to knowledge. So it's the whole community that you can join by being part of this and influence what is going to be the research and innovation of the process industry in Norway and in Europe for the next decades. That's all from my side by now.
Thank you very much, Angels. A great applause to you. I understand you're an important intermediator for industry and the academic environments to work together. And I guess you already have some Norwegian and Nordic members or partners from the industry, don't you?
We do. Yeah, Yara, for example, ID Cluster, and others. Yeah, we do, but we would love to have more.
There's room for more.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was just wondering, there's a question from the audience regarding the hubs for circularity. How do you define a region? Is Norway as a country a region, or is a region smaller than that or even bigger?
No, the definition of regions is the definition of regions of the European Union, right? So it's a different regions or, well, it depends on which each country calls it differently, yeah? But we should go to the EU definition.
Right. You mentioned energy as an important factor in reaching the circularity goals. And in Norway and in the Nordics, we pride ourselves with our renewable energy sources, and we have huge abundance of those. But for how long can we keep that advantage of this abundant, green, cheap energy, you think?
Well, that's not really our expertise, but for us, the energy is a challenge in the sense that our goal, so we are not the ones who develop the innovations on energy. We are the users of energy. What we can innovate on is in the way we use this energy more efficiently. And then these innovations can then be applied to other areas of society. But for us, the challenge is, okay, how much energy, renewable energy, is going to be available for our industries? at an affordable price. So electrification is a very key element. We know, for example, that aluminium sector is more advanced on electrification than other of the energy-intensive sectors. But many of them still have a big challenge because they have the need to have bulk amounts of energy available, of renewable energy available at an affordable price. If it's not affordable, then we have a problem, right? So that is the main challenge right now.
Yeah.
So we really want this dialogue with the energy sector to make sure they can also deliver their part, right? So that is also very important.
Yeah. Angels, when we spoke the other day, you said to me that full circularity may not be the way to go. You only have a minute or so to elaborate on that, but could you please do that? Because I thought that's the goal that we're working towards.
Yeah, we tend to say that we don't go for full circularity, but for real circularity. What do we mean by that? When we have to reuse some materials, and then by reusing those materials, we are going to generate more pollution or toxicity or more CO2, that's not the way to go. So these materials should not be reused. So we need to reuse as many materials as possible, as many resources, secondary resources as possible, and reintroduce them in the system. And then we need to work for the eco-design of the material so that in future we don't have materials that we don't want to reuse or that we cannot reuse because they are toxic. Yeah, so that's what we mean.
Okay, well, thank you, Angels, for giving us an insight in the work that you're doing and also for joining us here today. Our time has run up, unfortunately, but I know that you are eager to cooperate with the lot here and the others participating at the conference. So good luck with your further work, and I guess we're going to hear from you again later on. So thank you very much, Angels Orduña.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Goodbye. Now, from this large picture, it's time to look closer at some specific cases within the process industry going circular. A sustainable production of clean energy products is the core focus of our first case story, REC Solar Norway. They are pioneers within the solar industry, and they were founded in Norway in 1996. The company has had its ups and downs, I could say, but hopefully things are now going up again. The demand for solar power is growing parallel to the radical fall in production costs, and David Verdú, Managing Director at REC Solar Norway, has a strong belief in the future of REC Solar, of several reasons. So let's find out what these reasons are. David Verdú, the floor is yours. Give him a round of applause.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity not to brag, but to tell the story and be proud of it. Okay. REC Solar is a global company with about 2,000 employees. Most of the employees are located in Singapore, where we have panel production with a capacity of 1.8 gigawatts. We have also in Norway 2 production facilities with about 250 employees. Most of the employees are located in Kristiansand, where we have been producing solar-grade polysilicon since 2009. In Porsgrunn, we have a small team left now with 18 persons that are currently producing multicrystalline bricks to France at a double price compared to the spot price in China. And that is due that France actually have some requirements, and they pay for low carbon footprint. That shows that the green public procurement will be important in the future. REC is an international pioneering solar company founded in Norway in 1996. We have had the strength throughout the value chain, having integrated manufacturing, starting with silicon in Kristiansand, blocks in Harøya, and then wafer, cells, and panels in Singapore. This value chain was broken in 2018 due to the dramatic fall in prices in 2018, and the decision was taken to stop producing wafers in Singapore and also our plant in Singapore, converted the production from multicrystalline panels to monocrystalline panels, which is the trend now. So, still, our products are multicrystalline, but we are moving over to make them into the mono value chain. Like you see here, on the global technology mix, 97% of all polysilicon in the world for solar is produced using a modified Siemens process. Then we have two small facilities, one in the US and one in China, using another technology called fluidized bed reactor technology. And we are the only company that successfully have used the metallurgical refining process in Kristiansand since 2009. All three technologies uses quartzite as raw material as the starting point. And in Kristiansand, we use that first step to produce metallurgical silicon. And from there, we have 4 refining steps, and we end up with solar-grade silicon. The great disadvantage is that this product is slightly more impurities than the Siemens process that goes through a gas phase. But the big advantage is that our process uses 70% less energy, and with the energy mix in Norway, we have 90% lower carbon footprint. And that is good. You can show on the graph on the right side, we have 10 times lower CO2 footprint compared to the average Siemens process in China. But now we're taking a new step, where our goal is to make the solar industry circular. As this picture shows, when you have a brick, you slice it to wafers, and 70% of the brick becomes wafers and then cells and then panels. But 30% is the curve, the cutting curve from this cutting process. This 30% is about 150,000 tons yearly. And for the last 20 years, the industry have tried to use this kind of waste, take it back to the solar industry without success. But in 2016, our technology department in Kristiansand managed to do so in a pilot furnace. And with the help from Enova, we took the decision to go all in and transform our process in Kristiansand, going from 100% quartz-based production to 100% curve-based production. And simultaneously, we're also going and converting our products to mono. This is a fantastic achievement by our team, and the new process will look something like this, where the 2 first steps has been removed, and we introduced 2 new steps. The first one is a new plant for curve processing that is finished, and the second one is a new slag treatment plant that will be finished in October this year. And the last 3 steps will be the same as before. So, from a mono ingot, you have a brick, you have slicing to wafers, and the 30% of the waste will come back to the plant in Kristiansand. In addition to being circular, we will further reduce the carbon footprint and the CO2 emissions and energy consumption. So now we will be 96% lower in carbon footprint, and the energy consumption will be 85% lower. I have put a picture there as calculation. We produce about 8,000 tons of polysilicon in Kristiansand. Doing that with our process saved the world with more than 1 million tons of CO2 yearly, which is more than the total cement production in Norway emits. So that shows the value. That's only a picture of the value of what we're doing in Kristiansand. So we are going circular, we're going even lower in carbon footprint, and there is a third added value on this. We'll produce it cheaper also. I will take the opportunity now, being here, to thank all the employees in REC Solar for the stamina they have had through all these years, the stayer, being in the game, using their talent on the company, and most importantly, using the passion for this industry which makes this possible. Thank you very much. Have a sunny day.
Thank you, David. That final remark was very nice, because you have had your ups and downs at RAC Solar.
Certainly.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah.
And we're close to go the whole way now, but so still a lot of obstacles, but we are on the right move. And also, now we're being punished by having a price penalty for our products being so small and also being another process. But now we're experiencing having a price premium due to the lower carbon footprint, primarily to France, but also South Korea now introduced certain rules on low carbon footprint for the solar products from 15th of June this year. So we are moving into those markets.
So you're seeing actually a shift in the market, that there's a willingness to pay for a low footprint, because that's mainly what France is doing, isn't it? Because
exactly.
they have put requirements to the production, which means that some actors in this industry are allowed to go there, whereas others are not.
Everybody is allowed.
As long as they meet the requirements.
No, you can have high carbon footprint, but then your price must be very low. So it's a combination of the price and the CO2 low carbon footprint values. But I'm quite positive that this will spread not only to France and South Korea, and also now we have developed, in 1 or 2 months' time, we'll have an environmental product declaration on our products, which haven't existed in the solar business before.
Right.
With this in place, we will also have a big market in Europe for the building industry, which requires a certified value on carbon footprint.
Yeah. Why hasn't that been done before? I mean, the solar industry is in itself within the sustainable area. You don't know?
No, I don't know. For cement industry, for example, they did that 20 years ago. So I find it a little bit strange that it hasn't been developed for solar.
Yeah. But now it's there, and that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And also congratulations on becoming circular. You mentioned the use of waste that you're putting back into the production. And Katrina Ness from Mayaro, she mentioned that the quality is always a challenge when you are reusing and recycling. What about the quality of your products when putting this waste into the production again?
It is the same, because it's handled as a waste, no quality control, and that's why we have a first step where we process the curve to bring it back to the right quality. Essentially, it is very, very high quality, but you get a lot of contamination during the cutting process and the handling afterwards. But think about this product has been refined through quartzite and all the steps, refining steps, to be a very, very good material that then is destroyed, and we are doing something about it.
Cool. So, there's a question from the audience. Dear REC, with circulating the 30% waste, will you be able to share this innovation like Hydro and Alcoa are cooperating in the aluminium market?
We have two advantages and a lot of disadvantages. The low carbon footprint, all the products in Norway will have that advantage. With our process, that is unique. Many companies have tried through the years to copy it without success. There are a couple of companies still trying, amongst others one in Spain. But I won't like to share that core technology with anybody, because that is our only value today, together with the low carbon footprint. But we will, of course, cooperate, agree with cooperation, and agree with Barteide. You need both cooperation and competition, and you should balance that.
And how are you going to balance that towards, let's say, China?
To do this possible, we are today cooperating with a company in China, and we're cooperating with our company in Singapore. So that's an international cooperation. And the reason why the Chinese partner is in this because he sees the value of the low carbon footprint as well. So it is difficult to green public procurement, I think it's extremely important in all these discussions. Like you have incentives to buy low carbon, like they do in France, not only low carbon footprint, but also price, a combination of these two. And then you have a motivation and incentives to go for products with lower carbon footprint. And CO2 is global, so that will contribute to the development globally as well, and push all the producers to produce more environmentally friendly.
Are you earning money at this point?
Sorry?
Are you earning money at this point?
No, at the moment, no. We have been. I mean, we have periods where we have earned money through since 2009. And it has. I mean, this is not a walk in the park. It's not even a marathon or ultramarathon. It's a long, long way, and it's an extremely competitive business. But we see that we now have the possibility to be a part of this business in Norway, which is fantastic, I think. And we have a fantastic technology that I really believe in, but it's still a marathon. Even though it's a few months to start, we're doing things that nobody have done before. Yeah. So it's a big, risky business that we're doing, but we are close.
We're going to cross our fingers for you and for the continuation of REC Solar. Thank you very much, David, for joining us today. Now, this morning, we briefly met the Arctic Cluster team at Mo Industrial Park, and it's time to pay them a new visit. Monica Paulsen is the leader of ACT, as we call them, and she's going to give us an insight in who they are and what they do, followed by Jan Gabor, Market Director at the Industrial Park. I know that he's ready to talk about some of the large projects that are currently ongoing there. One of which is Freyr, that we met yesterday, the battery cell production initiative, and their CEO, Tom Jensen, is going to tell us more about that. So I'm going to leave the digital floor and scene to Mo i Rana. Monica, the scene is yours.
Well, let me start by saying thank you to Ada Cluster for giving us the opportunity to talk at this event. The Arctic Cluster Team ACT includes more than 60 partners from the process industry value chain in the northern part of Norway. We are producing minerals, metals, products, and services for the global market. Through ACT, the companies get a stronger voice, both local and national. We do provide a platform for collaboration between companies, academy, and the public sector. And we support and develop the innovation ecosystem together with our industrial partners. Like Katrine said, it's all about finding new kids to play with to create this circular economy. We aim to be a driving force for industrial transition, and we want to change the global industry with our new solutions. Through CO2 Hub Nordland, our cluster will find ways of becoming CO2 neutral. We are developing new processes using biocarbon and algae. Now we do launch initiatives for hydrogen and battery value chains with production and utilization, including circular economy business models. If we succeed, ACT will be an important part of the solution for reaching the global sustainability goals, and we will contribute to meet Norway's obligations under the Paris Agreement. To develop these new value chains, we collaborate through ACT to attract high-skilled workers, investors, and companies. A lot of the new initiatives will be established in Mo Industrial Park, and that's why Jan Gabor will come to tell you more about their efforts to develop a world-class industrial hub.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you something about what we're doing in Mo Industrial Park. And it starts with, when it comes to new establishments, it comes to what do new industrial customers need. And we have a long list of important issues, but what we think is the last bullet point, where Mo Industrial Park is a one-stop shop when it comes to new large industrial establishments. We have the power distribution, we have the water distribution, we have the logistics. So we hope that by that we can offer quick and effective solutions for all the industrial projects that are aiming to establish them in north of Norway and Mo Industrial Park. Our focus is on sustainability, and we have our own program called MIP Sustainability, focusing on energy efficiency, circular economy, and reduction in emissions. One of the projects that we have had is CO2 Hub Nordland, which is going to be ready this fall, where we have mapped the opportunities how to catch CO2, techno-economical solutions, and we have also been looking into CCU, or use of CO2 as raw material. From that, we have entered into an intention agreement with Statkraft and Celsa for establishing new hydrogen production in Mo Industrial Park, which is also going to be sort of a center of expertise when it comes to hydrogen, hopefully. The potential is 200 to 300 megawatt electrolysis production in different areas. We have the transport sector, we have industrial reuse of iron sector, CCU applications, biocarbon, and others. One of the projects that we have been working with for a couple of years is e-fuel, or producing methanol from CO2 and hydrogen. We are in partnership with a company called Swiss Liquid Future and ThyssenKrupp. Swiss Liquid Future is Swiss, of course, and ThyssenKrupp is a German international company involved in many areas, but also hydrogen and production and methanol production. So from this, we are have a strong partnership, and the idea is that Elkem is looking into CO2 capture for all their factories, but also Elkem Rana doing service how to capture CO2 from their plant in Mo Industrial Park, which will give the raw material to Swiss Liquid Future. ThyssenKrupp will hopefully build the factory itself, and we will have offtake by either national or international customers. Also, we have a great initiative from Freyr, who is looking into establishing battery cell production in Mo i Rana. One of the activities there is to establish a fast-track option within Mo Industrial Park. Mo Industrial Park offers industrial ecosystem with supplier industry, research, logistics, etc. And how will we then succeed in that kind of establishments? This is a list from the new report in Process 21, which is Vertskapsattraktivitet, or how Norway could be a host. And from that, I think I'll give the word to Tom Jensen, and he can tell us about how are we when it comes to being a host in Norway, and what are the status in Freyr. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan, and thank you also to Arctic Cluster for inviting us into this. We are obviously very pleased to be part of the ecosystem in the Arctic, and in Mo, in particular, in Mo Industrial Park also. So let me just go straight to this. Is an overview of Freyr. We are aiming to build up to 34 gigawatt hours worth of battery cells in Mo i Rana. In stage developments. We're going to do that using 100% renewable low-cost energy. And Norway, as mentioned yesterday, has very deep competitive advantages in Europe. And we're targeting all the relevant markets that will increasingly need an accelerating demand for batteries. And as mentioned also, we have established over the last 2 years very deep relationships across the entire value chain. And we're now getting ready to finalize our concept selection and technology selection so that we can start construction of the first facility of battery cells in Norway and in Mo Industrial Park already next year. We will then go on to build larger facilities also in Mo i Rana and that is also potentially supported by the development of a large wind park, which will add new renewable energy into the system, as battery cell production is obviously highly energy intensive and will take out a lot of the spare capacity in the region. Mo i Rana, in our opinion, is a very beneficial location for battery manufacturing. The stakeholders behind Freyr have investigated all relevant industrial sites in Norway, and the combination of the enthusiasm, the industrial sort of heritage and DNA in the region, combined with availability of power and very strong logistical sort of parameters, led us to believe that Mo i Rana is a very strong location for us. So this is an overview, a beautiful overview of Mo i Rana and Nesna, and where we are intending to develop facilities. A first facility, as Jan mentioned, a fast-track facility inside Mo Industrial Park as the first step towards larger facilities. And we've also identified 2 different sites that could be very viable for the larger facilities, so will be built in 2 phases. And then you see the wind park that we aim to establish in Sjonfjellet, which will add more or less the same amount of energy that these 2 battery facilities will require. So this is an overview of the fast-track facility. We are, as I mentioned, in now concluding discussions with various suppliers and technology suppliers to select the final concept and technology, which we aim to do later this year. And then we will move on after we have developed that to also start developing in parallel 2 larger facilities. We are well on track to establishing the basis for this new industrial fairy tale and adventure in Norway, and Mo i Rana is a very strong location for this kind of industry. Our ambition is to be 100% circular solution with no emissions to air, water, with 100% safe environments, and we're also working with all our stakeholders and partners along the value chain to ensure that we can minimize the life cycle impact from battery cell production and therefore be deeply competitive on the international arena. Because at the end of the day, as a society, we have to accelerate the efforts to reduce the CO2 emissions, and we need to do that at an unprecedented scale. And without electrification and batteries, this is just not going to be possible. And therefore, again, as I mentioned yesterday, this is the right concept in the right location at the right time. Thank you very much.
Now, thank you to Mo for giving us that sales pitch of what you're doing up there. And Tom, I would like to ask you just a quick question. Or maybe why was Mo the natural choice for Freyr?
Well, as I mentioned, there are many reasons for this. I think the combination of availability of 100% renewable low-cost energy, the industrial traditions in the area, and not least the sort of industrial DNA that you find with key stakeholders up there, both the politicians, but not least sort of Mo Industrial Park and different sort of stakeholders that have established businesses up there, provides for a very strong sort of welcoming, let's say, host community that also have the intrinsic, let's say, economic parameters in place. And then, of course, the logistics and sort of the key characteristics of establishing large-scale industry is also very favorable in the region, beyond sort of climatic conditions with reasonably strong climatic conditions compared to where battery cells are today produced. So the broad variety of reasons why, but if I should highlight one, I think it's the enthusiasm and the industrial DNA that is present throughout the Rana community.
Thank you. So Jan, this must be nice for you to hear that you're enthusiastic and doing everything that you can to lay it all out for them. And thank you also to both of you, Monica and Jan, for your presentations. And then you mentioned hydrogen. And there's actually a question as well for that. Is hydrogen you will use, but I understood you're probably going to produce it in the process industry made of fossil natural gas?
No, this is based on electrolysis from hydropower.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That is from the local power mix, so that when it comes to European electrical mix, we will have the best mix possible because we are so close to the power production.
However, hydrogen is very energy intensive as well in the making. And you have, as you said, an abundance of the renewable energy to do that. But hydrogen has been on the table for many years. And what is going to make you succeed?
Hopefully, we have a very strong partnership. And also, we are launching an industrial case where Celsa is going to use hydrogen in their production of maybe the world's greenest reinforcement steel, and that will replace other fossil sources. So by that, we will have quite a lot of use of hydrogen. The amount in industrial cases is quite big. So compared to, for example, other areas of use, we will be able to establish quite a large electrolysis production of hydrogen based on the local industrial use.
Someone in the audience points out that you have interesting competitive advantages, but will there be capacity to serve a market in terms of logistics and transport?
Yes, we hope so. We are the fourth largest harbor in Norway as it is today, with more than 1,000 boats arriving the harbor in Mo i Rana each year. So. And we also have a very strong north-south and also east-west connection. So we feel that we are very well located, yes.
Cool. There was a question that arrived earlier in the Slido feed, but I thought maybe you could have some perspectives on it. When it comes to attracting foreign investment and expertise, for example, for battery cell production, as you're planning on, are you working towards foreign investments, or are you mainly looking regionally?
No, we are working also towards foreign investments. When it comes to the large industrial establishments, most of those will be from international ownership. So basically, a lot through research and innovation programs. We are a part of SPIRE, and we are also, together with other partners, trying to market our opportunities in EU and some other parts of the world, yes.
Great. Well, time is running out for us once again. So I would like to thank you all three of you from Mo i Rana and Oslo for joining us here today, and good luck with the work that you're doing. So thank you very much, Mo i Rana and Oslo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, once again, we have time for a short break. So stretch your legs and enjoy the weather wherever you are. And we are going to reconvene at precisely 11 o'clock. So that is a 5-minute break this time. Enjoy.